is on the line with us. He is a contributor to the Conservative Review, former staffer for Rand Paul. ConservativeReview.com is the website. You can tweet him at Brian H. Darlene, spelled just like you might think. Brian, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me on.
So I have laid this thing out. I mean, today in the Washington Post, the CBO pointing out that by 2023, average working people who are making less than $30,000 a year are going to see their taxes go up or their benefit or their government benefits go down to the tune of well over $10,000, whereas rich people are going to see a tax cut. How are you guys, how do you think you're going to succeed in selling this thing that's just sticking it to anybody who makes under $50,000 a year?
Look, I agree that conflating health care with tax cuts is probably not a great idea because ultimately individuals will get a tax cut. The problem is if you're a low-income person, you're going to get stuck with higher health care costs according to CBO and according to the Joint Committee on Taxation. So, you know, they've run an analysis. I do have real concerns about this bill. I wish it was a bigger tax cut. I wish more individuals were getting a cut on the individual side. I know that they set an arbitrary limit of $1.5 trillion in cuts, and that's caused them problems where they've put more weight on the corporate side than they probably should have, and less weight on giving tax cuts to everybody on the individual side.
So, you know, when Obama passed the American Stimulus Act, I think it was called, the AMA, or there was one other letter in the acronym, but anyhow, when Obama passed this, Paul Ryan came out and said, this will not create any jobs, this will not produce any stimulus. And it actually, you know, it worked fairly well. Actually, here's what Paul Ryan said, quote, now keep in mind, this was 40% of an $800 billion stimulus of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, ARRA, February 2009. What did taxpayers get out of the Obama stimulus? More debt. The money wasn't just spent and wasted, it was borrowed, spent, and wasted. Mitch McConnell said also, 0 jobs, more debt. How is this different?
Well, that bill did contain some tax cuts and tax relief.
The largest middle-class tax cut in the history of the United States, that bill had.
A lot of government spending in it, too. And
sure.
This bill...
$500 billion.
Yeah. I mean, they're different in many ways. But, I mean, ultimately, I think that even President Obama advocated for a lowering of the corporate tax rate. And that, I think, across the board, people would see as a good idea if it was married to real corporate tax reform. But, yeah, I mean, you've noted that a lot of the exemptions are still in the code.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no corporate. I pay corporate taxes, right? I mean, that's like you know, I know what I can deduct, and they're still there, right? You know, everything. In fact, they're adding things. They're adding accelerated depreciation. I mean, they're adding more tax breaks for corporations, and the pass-through entity thing is amazing because you know the company that I own, this radio show, is a pass-through entity. Technically, it's an LLC, but apparently it's not structured in the way that very, very rich people can structure their LLCs. I guess I have to, you know, spend, well, money I don't have on a CPA to set up something that I can't afford in order to be able to take tax breaks that I probably don't need. Because like most small companies, you know, pretty much we don't pay much in taxes because we don't make that much profit. This is just crazy, Brian. We have got about 2 minutes left. Are you suggesting, I hear you kind of backpedaling on this, are you suggesting that the Republicans are going to blow it? I mean, you've got a couple of Republican senators, you know, Bob Corker and Jeff Flake, who have basically zero loyalty to Donald Trump.
No, I think it's going to be tough. The Senate's going to pass something, maybe. I mean, it's going to be very close. My former boss, Rand Paul, said he'd vote for it. I mean, as a whole, I like this bill. I think it's a good bill. I don't think it's great. I don't like a lot of aspects of it, and I do think Republicans have caused themselves huge political problems by the arguments you're making, that this is not enough relief for middle to lower income people and more relief for corporations and the rich. I mean, as a political issue, that's going to be troublesome. And if the economy doesn't rebound and do a lot better and hit 4% like the president's promised before the elections, could cause some problems electorally for Republicans going into the election cycle.
Yeah. Brian, if Republicans really wanted an economic stimulus to help juice the economy and make Trump look good, why not raise the cap on Social Security and lower the rate? We know from the experience of the Obama stimulus that if you can reduce Social Security taxes by 1 point for a year and a half, which is what they did, there's a huge and measurable stimulus, because it's people on the bottom end of the income distribution who are having fewer taxes taken out of their paychecks. They have more money to spend.
Well, you're would be completely changing the program from a program where you're supposed to pay in and receive what you paid in to a program that's just like the other welfare programs. And if you blew it up, it would be a huge tax increase on a lot of individuals, but it would just change the nature of the program. If we're all in favor of changing this program over, then sign me up, because I guess I'd probably have more disposable income if we lowered the tax, the Social Security tax.
But why should I pay 6% Social Security tax and Bill Gates pays 1/100th of 1%?